Hey, all right, we going, Connor?
Yeah.
Connor's filming me. Good morning, kids, or good afternoon for the afternoon classes. I'm going to try to do a tutorial just so we can spend more time working on this and I don't have to do it 5 times today. Those of you who are ready for the coffin lid, I've got some pieces and I'm going to kind of talk you through how to think about making the lid for your coffin. I'm going to have this up on the board, but I'm also going to have some copies for you. And you can use this as a reference. And we can see with our fingers, if we just use our fingers as a measuring tool like this, from chin to the top, 1, slide that down 2, that's about the top of his arms, 3, that's the top of the anka, 4, and that's the top of the bird's head, and 5, they're about 5 head to top tall. So what I'd like you to try to do first is figure out, just with your fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if you do this too big and you do this and then 2, 3, you know that you need to have a smaller measuring device. So 1, and then we just kind of keep our finger there, 2, until we figure out the fifths. Put a tiny little guide mark on there with your carving tool. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the bottom is 5. So we don't need to do the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4 marks in fifths. The top mark is where we're going to rest his head. And before we put his head on, attach and slip and score the head right here, I would go ahead and do the headdress. Now all I did for this headdress is just make 1, 2, 3 shapes like this. It'd be kind of hard to make this whole shape in one piece. You could do it, but I just chose to make it in 3 pieces, and all you got to do is just take a little piece of soft clay and pinch out with your fingers and thumb, and you can kind of throw it down on your mat if you want to start it, get it flat, and we just pinch out a little rounded piece like so, really thin. Now it doesn't matter that this is thinner than your pinky. Like I told you to try to make something on your clay about as thick as your pinky and not thinner. This can be a lot thinner because it is going to be attached to this piece. So this doesn't stand by itself, it's going to be attached on this. So now that we've got a piece like this, I would attach it first by scoring the top, scoring the back where we're going to attach, and again, it doesn't have to be pretty because nobody's going to see it. Just go fast and scratch that up. Put a little slip. Again, we can still get by with using water because this clay is pretty fresh. I made this a couple of days ago, so I'm actually using slip from our slip bucket. If you want it, if yours feels a little bit dry, if it's not floppy clay, I mean this is dry, it's kind of standing alone, it's not bending over. Most of yours is fresher than this. If you want to use slip, you can get the ladle in the slip bucket and put a little slip in your cup. Then I'm going to attach this piece like so and just press it down. Later on I'm going to smooth all these seams out. That's going to go on first, like ta-da! Next, the little side pieces of the headdress. I just, again, pinched off some clay and just pinched with my fingers and thumb the shape of that piece here, kind of a triangular piece like this that's going to go from his headdress down to the side. Now on this one, it looks like it's kind of flat across at the bottom. So to make that a flat across to the bottom, I'm just going to take that and tamp it. And a piece about like this is what we need for this side. I'm going to smooth it out on the top real good and get it up nice. The back side that I'm slipping and scoring, I don't need to care about that, so I'm just going to rough that up. I'm going to score where I'm attaching it right here on the side. Again, it doesn't have to be pretty. Put a tiny bit of slip on there, and I'm going to press that in. Now I'm going to take my blending tool and blend this so it looks like one piece. I'm going to cheat a little bit, and you can take the side of your blending tool and just push that clay over to make it straighter. And again, we're going to put the head on there later on, and I might need to do a little more for it, so I'm not going to get that perfect. I'm just going to get it about like that. All of these seams up here at the top, that little seam here, I can take my blending tool and just smooth that over like so. I formed a little circle, and then I just took that circle, a little pancake. It's not a ball. It was kind of more of a pancake type circle. And then I just took the top of it and tamped it on my mat until it got flat like that. So just construct a piece like that on the flat side, and if we want to get this flat where we're going to attach, just tamp it down on the mat. We are going to score this side. We're going to score in there in the middle. Put a little slip on there or water and attach the head. Pressing that down, we can't really blend the sides too well, so just tamp that down and press it down good. That's about good. Now, everything else is just little shapes, little coils. For an arm, take and coil and roll between your thumb and finger out a even coil. We want to maybe get one side flat so we can attach that. So just tamp it down on your mat so this side is flat. That's what I've done here. I stuck a little ball of clay on the end and blended that in for his hand. And there's an arm and hand, arm and hand. The way our reference, we've got one that's over and one that's underneath. If you want to make the underneath one even a little bit flatter, so that one goes over, and just smack it on your mat, underneath and over. And we want to play around with this and see how we like it. And if that looks about good to us, we can put a little guideline with our carving tool. Are you seeing it? Look like you're filming the desk maybe. I'm gonna do that to see where I want them, and then just slip and score that in the back. And I'm gonna go fast so it will take it not forever to download this. So you would need to slip and score this maybe a little bit better, but slip and score, slip and score. Since it's going over his hand, I'm going to score the top part of his arm too, the back side of it. Pretty cool thing that Mr. Calhoun, some of you 8th graders will remember Mr. Calhoun from last year. He was here to give the pledge. He's going to come on here and say hi for a second, so we might get him on camera too. That's how we can do the arms for the little cane. Again, just a little coil, and on your mat we can take the fat part of our fingertip and roll that. Get good and fresh clay for this. Move your finger around a little bit so it doesn't just get one place rolled out. Roll a tiny coil. This will be hard to slip and score. What we might want to do here is actually carve a little valley for that to rest in. Put a little bit of water or slip in that valley. Put it on the back side of our noodle, our coil. This is good and wet. And I'm just going to rest that thing in here. I made it too long. Easy. Pinch it off. And we've got his cane. Kind of like a king's staff, like a scepter to designate royalty. We can use this other little piece and maybe go under here. It's not long, no, it's hidden under his arm. So that's all we got to do there. For this little staff, same thing, and coil. And then the rest of it is just little pancakes and little coils and carving into it. So if we want to do this feathered piece that goes in front of that, I'm just going to make a flat piece. I would slip and score and do something like that. And then on the back, where it's overlapping, just bring something, a bigger piece like that, and overlap those and slip and score. When it gets a little drier, or today or tomorrow, you can go in and carve some different hieroglyphics and really make straight lines and put some of these hieroglyphic symbols. So that's what we're going to do today, kids, when you get to that point. Oh, the little foot rest. It would be cool, it would make it a little more three-dimensional if you put a small coil and roll it out here at the base of this foot. I didn't get it quite long enough. Easy fix, more clay, roll it out. We're going to slip and score. And attach that and blend it in and just have fun with it. You can decorate it any way that you want as long as you kind of use some Egyptian symbols. Don't put your name, don't put Sean on the front of it and Cutters and 2021. And try to make it as authentic as you can. And then after you get to this point, we can dress it up and get these little balls of clay. You might need to take your carving tool and dig out of there again and get it, just cleaned up. So that's our goal for today. If you haven't made your lid yet, you need to make that first, obviously, and go.